Hey, it's Jay. I wanted to extend a special thanks to those of you who have listened and left reviews on iTunes for this podcast. Please leave a review if you haven't done so already. We sincerely appreciate it. We're producing this show independently, and unfortunately, that is not free. We have to pay for digital hosting space, software, equipment, websites, and travel out of our own pockets. But we'd love to keep this show going as long as possible. Pledge your support by visiting www.bigbuckregistry.com/pledge. Thanks for your support, and enjoy the show. Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast, powered by ScentLock Enforcer, episode number 186. Chuck TESTA, Taxidermy, Liberals, and Mounted. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Today's show is sponsored by the ScentLock Enforcer, Advanced Takedown Tree Stands, and Morse's Sporting Goods. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
This is Dr. Dave Samuel, and you're about to push play on one of the most informative Big Buck podcasts out there. Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hey, this is Hal Blood from Big Woods Bucks, and you're about to push play on my favorite podcast, the Big Buck Registry.
This is Laura Zara from Naked and Afraid, and you're about to listen to my favorite podcast, Big Buck Registry.
Hey, this is Jay Scott.
Hey, everybody, Dusty Phillips.
And this is the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast. And thanks for tuning in. Psyched that you're joining us once again, as you do each and every week. And Dusty, we're all over the place, as you know. And as if you listen to the show and you listen to the end, you often listen to where you can find us. But I thought we'd open it up at your suggestion that we should let everybody know where we're at in the beginning of the show. Because most likely that once you get past all the meaty stuff, you might not have tuned in to find out. So let's take a moment to tell everybody where we're at.
Yeah, let's do that, Jay. You want to reach out to me, shoot me an email, dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. You can find me on Facebook, Chubby Times Outdoors, Instagram, Twitter, @ChasingAntler. Jay, where can the people reach out to you and you know them?
Best place is jay@bigbuckregistry.com. So if you ever want to reach out to me, and let me know what you think about this show. Let me know if you have a guest that wants to be on this show or a suggestion for us. Jay@bigbuckregistry.com. That's number one. I return all my emails, whatever you send in, whatever question you have. I always respond. Now, if you want to be part of the greater contingent, all the diehard deer hunting fans that are found on our Facebook page, you can go there, and it's bigbuckregistry.com/Facebook. Now, we're on all social media platforms. In addition to that, we're on Twitter, twitter.com/bigbuckregistry. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/bigbuckregistry. We're on Instagram, instagram.com/bigbuckregistry. So you can kind of see the pattern. If you want to listen to the show in other places than iTunes, you can find us on iHeartRadio, which is an app you can download. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on Blubrry, and we actually have an app. We have two apps. We have one for the Google Android devices, and we have one for the Apple iTunes devices. So if you have an Apple device, it's bigbuckregistry.com/app, and the other one is bigbuckregistry.com/GApp. So that's basically everywhere you can find us. You can subscribe in iTunes, and you can, by doing so, you'll be able to download this show and get notifications that a new show is out, which, by the way, is every Saturday morning at 5 o'clock.
That's a whole lot of big buck, Jay.
Yes, sir, it is. We're getting a little comical this week. And you know how sometimes those videos that you see on YouTube go viral? This week we're kind of tapping into that whole viral nature of social media. We're talking to a guy by the name of Chuck TESTA, and he's kind of got this cult following, but it's a very large cult following. He did this. He's a taxidermist out of California, and Chuck will tell you that he has kind of the complete opposite political views of everybody around him, but he He's a deer hunting guy. He's a hunter. He supports hunting. He likes guns. He likes military. He's a military reenactment guy. He's a taxidermist, and he's a very good one. But he's got this very kind of dry sense of humor, and he did this commercial, and it was posted on YouTube, and he's always saying, as you heard in some of the openings of last week's show, "Nope, Chuck TESTA." And he goes on, and it's so kind of quirky, but we learned that Chuck, although the video is quirky, he actually knows a lot about taxidermy. He's hardcore when it comes to being a taxidermist.
Yeah, for sure, Jay. And man, he's just got a great sense of humor, and he's a funny guy. And if you don't know who Chuck TESTA is, just Google search it and watch his videos, and it's really funny. Yeah. It's super funny.
Yeah, if you Google Chuck TESTA, you'll find an awful lot of Chuck TESTA.
Before we get to know Chuck TESTA, let's get to Jim Keller with the deer news.
For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the deer news. Our first story this week: deer bust through glass at giant grocery store in Pennsylvania. The story was originally featured on the USA Today website and was reported by Gordon Rago. Unfortunately for police, a mischievous deer that got inside a Pennsylvania grocery store was long gone before they could ask questions. The deer busted through a glass entrance door of a giant grocery store in Manchester on Monday night and ran around inside before getting back out. 2 other deer were spotted in the nearby parking lot as well. The trio decided to flee the scene before police could get there. They didn't hang around to be questioned, Northeastern Regional Police Chief Brian Rizzo said. The deer were seen running through a parking lot where they had their pick of nearby stores: a donut shop, a liquor store, and a grocery store. One deer slammed into a window of Smoker's Outlet but didn't cause any damage. Another deer was seen running off through a nearby field. But the third ended up slamming into a glass door at Giant and briefly wreaked havoc inside, where some customers were shopping. It appeared dazed, Giant spokeswoman Samantha Krebs said, but continued through the store. 3 customers helped calm the deer and took it outside near a field next to the store, where it ran off. No one was hurt. There was only minor damage to the store, according to Krebs. Required changes coming for bowhunters for 2017. This story was originally featured on the deeranddeerhunting.com website and was reported by Alan Clemens. Bowhunters will have yet another possible requirement to fulfill and another license to pay for before being able to hunt in one of the popular states this season. If you're used to paying for different seasons, periods, or weapons, this doesn't sound like a big deal. Some states have had this kind of setup for years. Want to bow hunt? Buy an archery permit. Want to muzzleload or firearm or crossbow? Buy a permit. Those would be separate costs, possibly on top of a general hunting license and before quota draws that might cost more. These weapon-specific costs smack of revenue generation more than anything, to be honest. But with state agencies hurting for money and taking hits for license increases, this seems to be a more palatable sales pitch to hunters. Montana is the latest to make this move, announcing that bowhunters will have to purchase a separate bow hunting license before applying for any archery-only permits. To buy the license, you'll have to also complete or have completed a bowhunter safety course or show proof of a prior license purchase. Here's a press release from the Montana FWP about changes for the 2017 season for bowhunters. This year's hunters will be required to purchase a Montana bow and arrow license prior to applying for any archery-only permits. To purchase a bow and arrow license, an individual must meet one of the following requirements: show completion of a bowhunter education course, show proof of purchase of a previous year's bow and arrow license from Montana or another state, sign an affidavit that they have previously purchased a bow and arrow license in Montana or another state. First-time archers need to have planned ahead to have their prerequisite hunting education certificate in order to apply for the 2017 archery-only drawings. The first drawing deadline is March 15th. Montana FWP bowhunter education classes are offered around the state. Please visit fwp.mt.gov to register for a bowhunter education course. Missouri Department of Conservation confirms female mountain lion in Shannon County. This story was originally featured on the Missouri Department of Conservation website and was reported by Robert Helmelgraun. The Missouri Department of Conservation recently received DNA results from a confirmed mountain lion in Shannon County. Those results indicated the mountain lion was a female with a probable origin in the Black Hills of Wyoming and South Dakota and northwest Nebraska. This is the first definitive confirmation of a female mountain lion being present in Missouri since 1994. Mountain lions are still rare in Missouri, said MDC Wildlife Management Coordinator Alan Leary. The detection of a female increases the likelihood that breeding could occur within the state, but at this point we don't have any evidence that a breeding population exists in Missouri. In 1996, the department established its mountain lion response team with a specially trained staff to investigate reports and evidence of mountain lions. Since then, all mountain lion sightings confirmed by the MLRT have been proven to be males or have insufficient evidence to determine the animal's sex. Since 1994, MDC has recorded 68 confirmed mountain lion sightings in the state. On January 21st, MDC confirmed a male mountain lion was struck and killed by a vehicle on Interstate 70 in Warren County. Confirmations have become more common in recent years, likely due to a combination of factors according to MDC fur bearer biologist Laura Conley. The risk of a mountain lion attack in Missouri remains highly unlikely. No mountain lion attack on a human has ever been recorded in the state. People, livestock, and pets face a much greater risk from familiar dangers we encounter, including automobiles, stray dogs, and lightning strikes. MDC has never stalked or released mountain lions in Missouri and has no plans to do so. However, the department wants to learn more about these rare animals and encourages all citizens to report sightings, physical evidence, or other incidents so they can be investigated. Anyone with information about a mountain lion can file a report with the Mountain Lion Response Team at mountain.lion@mdc.mo.gov. To learn more about mountain lions and to view a map of confirmed sightings in Missouri, visit mdc.mo.gov/mountain-lion. And special thanks to listener Daniel Applebaum, who sent us the link to this story. USDA plans to use treated corn for ticks on deer. This story was originally featured on the Lone Star News website and was reported by Lily Sams. As part of the effort to control cattle fever ticks, the U.S. Department of Agricultural, Animal, and Plant Health Inspection Service is proposing to treat white-tailed deer with ivermectin, a broad-spectrum antiparasitic drug to control tick vectors of cattle fever in several counties in South Texas. The deer would be fed ivermectin-treated corn from a large, closed gravity feeder placed in areas where cattle fever infestation is a concern. Ivermectin is a widely used antiparasitic drug in humans, livestock, and pets. Treated corn would be placed in the gravity flow feeders from February through July to control cattle fever ticks in deer populations. The feeders would be mandatory on both public land and private ranches with cattle within the tick quarantine area as part of the herd plan for all quarantined premises. One South Texas rancher reports deer covered with ticks before using the pellets. Ronnie Eccles of Lissy and Eccles Feed said internal parasites feed on the deer at a time when they are most weak after the rut. Getting rid of parasites will do more to help the deer herd than anything we can feed them, he said. That concludes this week's edition of the Big Buck Registry's Deer News. For links to the stories featured this week, please check our show notes at www.bigbuckregistry.com. If you have any ideas for future topics or have questions about any of these topics, please email me at jim@bigbuckregistry.com. For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Thanks to Jim Keller with the Deer News. And without further ado, here is Chuck Testa. Chuck Testa, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm psyched to talk to you. You're becoming a YouTube legend in your own right, and 17 million views is nothing to sneeze at.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you feel the celebrity when you go out for out on the town? Do you get noticed now?
I used, at first especially, and then it's still hard to comprehend. I was at the SHOT Show a couple of weeks ago, and my Cody, who does my YouTube channel, and there's guys pointing at me and this and that, and I go, what are they pointing for? And they go, because they know you. Yeah. I'm like, nah, He goes, yeah, they do. It's really true. I go, oh, well, whatever.
I was just about to say I'm surprised we didn't bump into each other, but then again, I'm not surprised we didn't bump into each other because that place was just a madhouse.
Oh, my God. Insane, huh?
Yeah.
It's almost undescribable, isn't it?
It is undescribable. And we walked around for 3 solid days from open to close and still.
And never saw the same thing twice.
Saw the same thing twice. Didn't even get to one of the sections. Like we didn't even there was a whole floor we missed. We knew it was there. We just didn't walk in there. I just never got there.
And I have like a lot of other friends in the industry that are even clients of mine. And the only way we can connect is thank God for these dumb, stupid phones now. So you can text them and say, meet me at the wherever it is. And then you still have to fight your way through the masses,
Yep.
And it's crazy.
It was kind of shoulder to shoulder the whole way, but fascinating show. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, well, I had a most unusual incident there. I actually mounted a deer head in a restaurant Wednesday night there.
Really?
Yeah.
Which restaurant?
TV. Oh, God. I can't. I'll never remember the name now. But it was one on that main corridor there when you leave and you come walking out, flooding out.
Yep.
And my mind will go blank on the name, but Carbon TV rented the whole restaurant for their media event.
Was it across the road, directly across the road, or?
Yeah, and you could see in from when they leave.
Yeah.
And I guess when I was doing it, there was hundreds of people, I said, just looking in the window when I was mounting the deer, They actually streamed it live.
They did,
and,
okay.
the whole thing. Yeah, and I got like 5,000 views while it was live, and I watched parts of it,
Yep.
And it was pretty crazy because it was like not being in your body, you know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say, but I'm focused on mounting a deer head, which takes a bit of concentration, and it was loud and dark, and there was thousands and if you'd asked me, maybe 5 people watched me, that was my impression, right?
Right.
Because I was focused on my the mount, but apparently lots of people were watching and really interested and, taking pictures and everything. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Chuck, tell us about yourself. We're kind of interested we see the YouTube craze, and we see you on YouTube as this kind of zany guy behind the really funny taxidermy commercial. But I know there's a real person behind all that, and I suspect you enjoy the humorous side of life because of this. And I want to know a little bit more about you. Like, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm born an original Los Angeles person, I guess, born in L.A., in California, like native.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that's good anymore. But anyhow, so I grew up in Hermosa Beach, a beach town, and then Culver City, which eventually I moved there to Ojai. But I got started doing taxidermy, believe it or not, by buying a mount of pheasant kit out of the back of a Sports Illustrated magazine. In the back of the magazine where they have all these ads, like invisible glasses or whatever it is.
Yeah, sure.
Mount pheasant, get professional results, $9.95.
Right.
So I ordered this kit, and that's how I actually started. No one in my family ever did it. You know what I mean? No one I even knew did it. It was just this random thing that I've always been interested in. And so I, started off that way, my taxidermy bit. And, 30 years later, like the rest is history, I guess. But, yeah, I'm kind of I don't know, I do have a good sense of humor, I guess. You might say I was voted most likely to end up in prison, class of 74. So I dodged that bullet, I've always been able to laugh at myself. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. You don't take yourself too seriously, which is great. I mean, that's
exactly.
That's
actually a rule. I don't know if you knew that.
I did
that's
not
a
know
rule called Rule 62.
Rule
62.
All right.
Do not take yourself too seriously. Look it up.
I think it's an important rule in life, actually. I don't think it is
something
that I wish more people would employ it. But, boy,
well,
you can tell when people don't take themselves seriously, and you tend to kind of like those people a lot.
Yeah, and I was just fortunate to hang around with a lot of, just my friends. I'm still friends with a lot of kids in high school. Well, they're not kids anymore, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like a lot of them, and they're all self-made guys. It's interesting. And all of us, they thought we'd never even graduate, So
right, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I want to play the commercial right now so everybody can hear it while we're on the air here.
Mm-hmm.
So let me let's play it and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
You probably thought this deer was alive, and this coyote was alive, and this pheasant was alive. Nope, they're not. They're dead. They've been taxidermized by Chuck TESTA, Ojai Valley Taxidermy. I specialize in the most lifelike dead animals anywhere, period.
Look at that antelope driving a car.
Nope, it's just Chuck TESTA.
Oh no, there's a bear in my bed.
Nope, Chuck TESTA.
Hold on a second. There's a leopard feeding on an impala out on my deck.
Nope, it's just Chuck TESTA with another realistic mount. Shipped to me from anywhere. Call Chuck TESTA for the most lifelike dead animals around, period.
Did that rhino just order a drink?
Nope.
Chuck TESTA does not taxidermize pets.
Oh man,
Still makes me laugh.
It's still very. I mean, it's very funny. I've watched it a bunch of times, and I still.
Yeah,
laugh.
old Rhett and Link were geniuses, and that was actually made for a reality TV show called Commercial Kings. So you can actually download from iTunes the whole, like a 30-minute TV show called Commercial Kings, and it has me making the whole video.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. So the inspiration for the commercial itself was actually part of a larger concept.
Right. It was for another two guys who were famous for making commercials for wacky commercials for small businesses, like you see at 3 a.m.
Right.
on your local channel. So,
So why do you think it went so viral?
I don't know, but can I tell you a little bit of the story?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So they Rhett and Link, and they're huge now, huge on YouTube, and I think they just got some kind of big deal. But anyway, they got a pilot for the series called Commercial Kings on the IFC channel. All right, and then it was like 8 or 10 episodes, and to this day, we do not know the person from IFC who called me to ask if I wanted to be on the show.
Gotcha.
So someone called and said, "Hey, we're doing it," and me, I'm up for whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then I forgot all about it. And then like 6 months later, they call up and say, "Hey, we're coming to do the video or whatever, their show." And I was really excited because I was going to be on network TV, on a show, and I was going to be, people would see it, and I'd get business and all of that, right? The show comes out, and it did pretty good, but they didn't get a second season. And so nothing really happened, I didn't get any calls or anything. So my kid puts the video on YouTube, and then 2-3 months go by, and I didn't know anything about YouTube, and he's going, "Oh, we're getting some views, like 200 views or whatever." Yeah. And I go, "Oh, well, maybe I'll get like 500 views or something, man. That'd be good."
Right.
And then all of a sudden, some kid saw it and put it on, a girl, and I can't remember her name right now because I ended up reaching out to her to thank her, puts it on Reddit, and then from 1 minute to the next, my whole life turned upside down, and it would just went berserk. My computer crashed. My business phone started ringing and rang solid 24 hours a day for 2 years straight.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, just nuts. So that's an important safety tip. Be careful with your phone number.
Very important safety tip right there. When was that video shot? Like when did it launch?
In 2011.
2011.
Right. And it was like commercial of the year 2011. It was this, it was that. I was number 7 of the top 10 Halloween costumes of 2011 with Chuck Testa.
And how do you take all that stuff? Is that you just think it's cool, or
I don't even know what to say. It's just bizarre. It's a really, really strange feeling because a lot of people want to do a TV career, you know what I mean, or something, or want to be famous or known, and I had no desire for any of that, or really thought, you know what I mean?
Right.
So to get launched, it was like getting launched into a different universe for me.
Right. And
but oh my God, the things I've got to do since the video are amazing, and the people I've met and experiences have just been amazing.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I went to Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, all over the place. This is great,
Did it inspire you to get more into the video business after that?
Well, yeah, I wanted to try to do something with that kind of, whatever you want to call it, exposure, right?
Sure.
But what I really decided to do, I started doing my TESTA Tuesday tips to try to help taxidermists. And my ultimate thing I'd like to do is do a school or something someday.
Gotcha.
Because I love my art, and I love to teach it, So this might be an avenue to that. Well, actually, it will be, but it takes time.
Sure. So from your first taxidermy specimen, was it a pheasant that you did with a
it was a pheasant. Yeah,
kit out of the back of a magazine to
$9.95.
$9.95. Now you have your own
profession. $10 and 20 years of hard work, you get professional results. See,
gotcha.
Nothing to it.
Gotcha. So tell me about your shop. Are you your shop is an active, live, functioning taxidermy shop now?
Yeah, my shop is behind my home, and we bought this place because of the shop. It was built in '49. It used to be a blacksmith shop, and previous to that, I had a freestanding shop on El Roblar down here in Ojai. But, this place worked out a lot better for me. So
Gotcha. And how many mounts do you do a year now?
Well, now I've been slowing down a little bit because I'm, kind of phasing in. I don't know if you want to call it part-time or whatever.
Yep.
But, when I was cranking one-man shop, I was putting out over 300 pieces a year easy,
No kidding. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and have you made a living doing that at this point?
I've made a living for the last full-time since for 21 years. Yeah.
Very cool. That's amazing. And how much do you attribute to the video itself for helping you be successful?
Well, the videos helped me be successful in other ways. My career as a taxidermist before the video is more of an interesting. We probably don't have time to get into all the intricacies of it. Mm-hmm. But after struggling and being self-taught, I was lucky enough to meet a guy at one of the shows who was one of the best that ever lived, who took me under his wing.
Gotcha.
And taught me a really good foundation and a good system, and my work was pretty good, prior to the video. And then the video's just been an how do you say it, a good addition and taking me to different places,
Right.
So most of it after the video has been exposed, to YouTube and doing commercials. Like I did a commercial for Keystone Light, for example.
Gotcha.
And
all right.
Things like that.
That's cool.
And the funny part was, the reason I didn't get tons of business is people thought it was a phony commercial.
Right.
Is that hilarious? And they
Right.
thought I wasn't really like Chuck Testa wasn't Chuck Testa. That's just some actor guy they got to do this commercial.
Right. Well, it kind of has that feel in a sense, like it's so kind of corny in a way that you're like, maybe it was just somebody in the film industry picking on taxidermist or something. I didn't quite. No, I mean, I knew you were a real guy, you real taxidermist, because I knew that. But I guess if somebody didn't know about taxidermy, you might not take it that way.
No, and then that's why the phone kept people call from. You know what I mean? Right. And to this day, 6 years later, like for example, a week ago Saturday, some people came by from Canada, all over the country, every name somewhere in the world, and somebody's from there stopped at my shop, all over the world.
Wow, that's crazy.
Slovakia, Ukraine, even Tasmania, believe it or not, just nuts.
Crazy life. So let's talk about taxidermy a little bit, Chuck. It's what types of things should we be looking for as we we kill our deer and we're trying to figure out what to do with it? What types of things should we be looking for in a taxidermist?
Well, I tell people, whether they use me or another taxidermist, to find a guy you're comfortable with, that you trust, that you can almost develop a relationship with in a way, like more than just one deer, you might say. Because a lot of people shop around for price, and they're always jumping from guy to guy or whatever, and which is insane to me, because to me, the money would be the least part of it, except for the quality, right? Is more important, I think. But you need to trust the guy, and you need to have it's a different kind of thing than going to the hardware store and just buying a flashlight or something, right?
Right.
And then you need to like the guy's style, because there is stylized taxidermy, which I don't prefer to do, which is these overbuilt, kind of real muscly, all lined out, you see every crease in them. Or there's natural, like what I do, which is more anatomically correct. It just depends what you like, and everything in between.
Gotcha.
So, and an really important thing to do is to make sure, if you're going on a hunt, and figure it out ahead of time. There's so many guys, like, you always hope you get the big buck, or you're going to get something, right? But mostly you don't. Then you finally get the big deer, and you go, uh-oh, what do I do? How do I skin? You know what I mean? How do I take care of it? Like you said. So you need to think of it ahead of time. It's really important. And know where you're going to go and know how he wants it taken care of, to bring it because the better you take care of it in the field has a direct result to the end result of your mount on your wall,
Gotcha. Yeah, we've heard this
and I've
before.
Trained a lot of my clients. Yeah. I've trained a lot of my clients how I like them skinned, and some of my guys, my longtime guys, won't even let the outfitter skin their deer now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll do it because they want it exactly a certain way.
And, can we break that down and walk us through what you want as a taxidermist?
Well, another reason I made my YouTube videos, right? If you go over there, I have how to skin a deer, how to do this, how to do that. how to take care of this, how to take care of your bear, right? And so you can get it to your taxidermist, in good condition, because that's really, really important to get that deer skinned out as quick as possible, for example, and that you don't let it get air dried, that you don't set it in the sun, that you don't even fold it up on itself. If there's heat, you got to let it cool down, and especially bears. A lot of guys make that mistake. They'll fold up a bear hide and trap all the heat inside, and then they'll freeze it, and then they'll think it's fine, right? And then the poor taxidermist unfreezes it, flushes it out, and it's all slipping, and then the hunter's all upset because he says, I brought you a perfect hide, and blah, 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 and so field care is the utmost importance. And I like mine skinned. I do a traditional all the way down the back incision. I don't like the short Y incision, they call it, and or tubed, and it's pretty basic. It's simple to do, but you need to be, if you're showing it, sure helps a lot rather than trying to talk it through you over the phone.
With a back cut, you're saying that you like for your clients to cut the top of the form skin, and then where do you recommend bringing around the chest area?
Third rib.
Gotcha.
Third rib. So let me try and think this through on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, I would tell you, because I'm assuming that everybody we're talking to now knows about a deer, how they're built, and is a hunter experienced in skinning. So I ring the legs, around just above the hoof.
Yep.
And I ring them that low just to keep the hair out of the meat, right? Then I go straight up the legs. Actually, kind of not straight up. When I get to the knee, I kind of stay to one side. And if you're looking at a deer or any animal, you notice that the inside of the leg has shorter hair. The outside has a little bit longer hair on that kind of grooms over there. You stay on the inside of that line. And the deer almost has a map of how to skin it. It's really interesting if you really look, So I come up the back there, all the way up the back, and you get to the armpit. I kind of go backwards to the third rib and stop there, both sides. Then when you're looking at the top, they usually have a nice stripe down the back. Sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's light, but you go from the right at the back of the head there where the head connects to the neck, just go straight down there, and then I call it connect the dots, because once you've got that down to the third rib, you got the bottom to the third rib. All you got to do is, cut around each side to connect, and you got it. And that way you can skin it off all the way to the neck and disconnect the head right at the last joint. So all the neck meat is on the deer, not in your mount. Like when you see guys bring in mounts with 8 inches of deer neck meat in them and stuff,
Right.
So
I think that's, I'm assuming that's preference. Some guys like it tubular, some guys like to split up the neck, and you're going to split up the neck. Okay, I'm just going to ask, as a taxidermist, does that make it easier for you to work with the cape and being able to, get in there and flesh it and everything?
Absolutely, and the tannery likes it. There's a huge controversy about this. East Coast guys love that 4-inch Y and all that, and they say this and that. And I'm not afraid to sew, and I know how to dress a seam, And for hundreds of years, it was done, not hundreds, but a couple hundred, split down the back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it just makes more sense. It makes more sense.
Well, it's got to be easier for a taxidermist to work with a split hide versus a tube trying to get that all over that form.
Right. Well, this is going to cause me some grief because I know you got lots of listeners because there's, like I said, a broad opinion. In my opinion, yes. And like I said, the tannery likes it better too, and you can tug it back better to the, it's just way better.
Oh yeah, I can see that. And you think about taxidermy, and I'm sure you're playing around the eyes and making things, putting some vein or doing some detail work.
Yeah, no, you detail your face and all that, but I call it mounting it twice when it's tubed. All right, because you have to set your antlers on, get it all set, then you have to take them off. Okay,
right.
And then some guys hang the hide way down and then do the eyes. But if they're going to get enough space to do it where the hide hangs down enough that you can lift it up over, well, now you've cut it down about 10 inches, okay? Right. So now you're only saving 6 inches.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. For me, I just think it's the way to go,
Yeah, I got to agree with that because you think about once you mount the antlers, you're like lag bolting them into that hard form there. Then you got to unbolt them, so then you're taking a chance when you're threading to get loosed in the future. This all makes sense to me.
It's not even just that. It's just the steps, too.
Right.
The system that I've been taught, from the minute I measure it, like I'm mounting the deer when I start touching it, if that makes any sense, okay?
For sure.
Right? from when I'm skinning it, it's already part of the process to the mounting. If you can follow that line of thinking, there's no wasted steps, right? Everything has a purpose. Every move, every cut, everything has a reason why it's done that way, to make a good finished product. You see, does that make sense?
Absolutely. Tell us how you stitch up.
Okay,
what do you use to stitch a form?
Okay, well, when we get to that point, I use a thread that's similar to dental floss. It's
Gotcha.
It's actually made from, if you look at a cable, like what we use for our TV, and if you cut it and you see the white in there,
yep.
The white, it looks like just white. I think there's 4 strands in there. That's what it is, because it holds to itself. When you take a stitch with that and tug it, it doesn't back off itself.
Gotcha.
It's
so
really
actually
great.
It's almost got like a coating on it that grabs.
Right, and then I use an S curve needle that kind of scares people because it looks pretty big.
Right.
But once you know how to sew with it, it's not. And then I take about 6 stitches with a baseball stitch, and then I wrap the thread around pliers, right, and tug it snug, really super snug, and it's just amazing. And then I just do that all the way down.
Gotcha. I'm kind of reversing this whole theory of mounting a cape. How far into the process is the stitching? Is that something that's completely towards the end?
That's completely towards the end.
Gotcha.
So your first step is when the client brings you the deer, right? My very first step, head hits my shop. I have to log it in and do all that paperwork and stuff, right? And before I skin it, I have a chart. If you can imagine, it's like a life-size profile of a deer, right? And it's got all these lines and circles, and they're all measurements. And I measure the whole head, not just nose to eye, not just nose to back of head, not just the circumference of the neck. I measure everything. Tear duct length, septum width, septum opening, front of the eye, corner width, back eye width, ear length, everything, on every deer that comes in or animal. So
you're going into major detail where that's something that a lot of people overlook the detail and just drop a deer head off, pick out a form and walk away. And they get their deer back and they say that's not even my deer. So this process that you're talking about eliminates any question of, is that my deer? You're going through.
Oh, exactly. They come out. The neck will be about a half-inch bigger than when it was alive, but the face is within a millimeter, or you know what I'm saying? There's no doubt. And I call it field notes and sketches. Sometimes I sketch them, and I'll note if it had a Roman nose, if it had a scar, whatever it is, Right.
So is that something that we would tell a listener that maybe, how would you ask a taxidermist if they do all these steps? Is there any procedure that somebody?
Well, I'm gonna go out already and tell you that most of them don't. Most of them don't. They take 3 basic measurements,
And what you get is what you
they
get.
do that, and they don't. See, a lot of people think skinning is a punishment, and it's really not a punishment, or not a punishment, but it's the grunt work. But actually, your best reference is on your skinning table, I'll turn my ears inside out while they're still attached to the head. Right. You see how everything works. And when you do that 1,000 times over the years, you've got muscle memory of what it really does look like, not just trying to read reference from a flat photograph, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, because I can tell you the average septum width on a mule deer is from 24 to 26 millimeters, depending on how big the buck is, right?
Gotcha.
And stuff like that. I just know it like by heart almost.
Gotcha. So once you check in, you get the buck check in, you start doing measurements, then where do you go from there?
Then after that, I cape it, flush it and salt it, and then let it dry however long it needs to dry to send it to the tannery. And I like to use a good commercial tan, I use a guy in Glacier Fur out in Montana. They do a really good job. And I send it to a commercial tannery, and then that takes however long, 3-4 months, whatever it is. Then when I finally get the cape back, I do a double check. I soak it up, stretch it, double check my measurements, go to my invoice, see what the client wants as a pose, make the list for my mannequins. And then I do them in batches every month, you know what I'm saying? And try to do them in order if I can of when they came in.
Right.
So say a normal month is like 20 to 25 heads a month is what the goal is. So, and then we order mannequins, the mannequins come in, and then we start the fun part of the job, prepping the cape, getting it together and mounting it up.
Can you walk us through a little detail on that?
Yeah, so you get your cape back from the tannery, then you have to clean up the nostrils, the lips, the eyes, turn the ears, pull the cartilage, sew up any holes, fix any holes, bullet holes, whatever it is, cut out bullet burns, fix drag marks, whatever train wreck is, like we were just laughing about it the other day because I just did like however many in this last batch. I think I did 4 antelope, a sheephead, and 18 deer, whatever it was, right? And out of however many deer I did, only 2 of them had perfect capes. That there wasn't something, you know what I mean?
Wow. Right. That's kind of a
cut wrong in the brisket, this, that, One of them, the guy shot it right under the eye, and it came out the left side of the head, and I had to fix that.
Yeah, I got to say, a taxidermist is the only guy I know can perform miracles sometimes.
Well, when you really think about it, it's pretty amazing the jobs they do. And what if you think of everything that can go wrong, I think guys are too hard on their taxidermists sometimes. They really do. Not to make excuses for them, but if you really look at it and how many animals you have to touch every year, right? The fact that you mostly win is pretty amazing if you look at it like that.
Absolutely.
So
that's kind of
So then you detail your cape, and then you jump over to your mannequin. You set your antlers and get your cape. You cut your lip slot, your tear duct slot, detail your nostrils. Set your eyes, do all the clay work, and then you put your glue on, and then put your hide on. And so you can go over and watch my videos and see me do it. I got a lot of them doing different things, and I go through it step by step in the videos. So I do that, and people are really fascinated how it's done. So
yeah, no doubt about it. That's it's definitely a talent that takes some time and some skill. Is there much painting? Talk a little bit about the detail towards the end of the mount. You got to paint the nostrils?
So when when we finally get it dry, it's dry. You gotta uncard it all, take your pin, whatever it is you do, and then you gotta regroom, brush it out again, and to do your putty work. We use a 2-part epoxy and fill in any defects around the eyes or any this or that, and putty the inside of the ears or fix any splits in the ears, whatever. Once you get that all done, then you break out your airbrush with your colors, and I use a 3-color system. Paint the inside of the nostrils, the tear ducts, the eyes, and then the nose pad, the inside of the ears. And then my very last finish I do with oil paints and a hand paintbrush, to detail the corners of the eyes. And that's the last step. And seal the nose with some semi-gloss like that. Yeah. Boom. And then that's really when it pops.
Do you know how many deer you've done in your career?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Take a guess.
To say thousands wouldn't be a lie, I don't think.
It's 6,000?
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe if you count elk and antelope and stuff, probably easy, yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of animals.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Well, in 30 years,
It is interesting how much you've clearly learned over the years, and that you can actually describe it on a podcast
Well, I appreciate that. To me, I sound all awkward because I go, geez, how do you tell somebody without a picture, right? And try to say it so they can understand. But I'll tell you this, as much as you want to put in, you can learn, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I try to teach anyone that wants to learn to think different about how they think about it and how they problem solve and how they can do this or that looks impossible. It's all just a matter of training your mind that you can really accomplish something. And next thing you know, you're fixing 150 things that are complete roadblocks to other taxidermists. I know guys that won't mount a cape with a bullet hole. You know what I mean? They go, well, what do you mount?
Right.
How do you mount? Because everything I get into like a train wreck. I mean, archery season here is in July, and then first gun is August, right? There's not even any hair on them. So it's, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're working with not with a winter coat. You're working with a summer coat, pretty much.
Yeah, to me, people laugh, my colleagues, because they'll get into like a September, late September is an early deer, their archery, whatever it is,
Yeah.
In October early, to me, that's a prime damn cape right there.
Right.
You know,
That's
if I get in north heavies like from Iowa or something, that's just a dream for me. Something with that much hair, oh my goodness, it's nothing to it. You know, it's butter. So,
Chuck, I was wondering have you ever read any of the comments on your Blockbuster video? And Dusty, were talking about his commercial that I had sent you. It's been seen by almost 17 million people.
Right.
Have you ever gone back and read some of the comments that people have left underneath?
A little bit years ago, but I try not to read too many, especially negative comments.
Right.
You know, so I just don't.
Would you mind if I read just some of them? I mean, they're kind of funny. As negative as some of them are, they're kind of funny.
Okay. No, I don't care.
I just want to read them and get your reaction to them because I think you'll have the right spin on some of these. And some of these are intentional, but you'll understand. So this guy Tom Forthex writes, his voice is as dead as those animals.
Well, I guess so. I don't know.
Well, I think it's just the way the commercial was supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to be this very dry guy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Now, this other guy writes, this is from Internet Comment Etiquette with Eric. This is really funny.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. 5 months ago. It says, I've been in the ad business since the 70s, and I just don't get it anymore. I've worked millions of hours, attended thousands of meetings, and handled hundreds of clients in all that time, and I never thought that getting 2 U-turn blank-offs to spend $50 on a commercial would get a bigger audience than what I've got in my entire career.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's not good at his job. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, what I'm thinking is you try too hard. Like, don't take yourself so damn seriously.
Exactly, Chuck. That's it.
That's what they. You know what? When those 2 guys told me, they said we talked before. Right now, I remember, and they said, "Are you okay if we make fun of you?" And I said, "Absolutely.
Right.
I don't care."
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. And so, because I won't say I didn't care, but because of my attitude, they had more freedom to do whatever they thought they could push the envelope, you know?
Exactly.
And then also not caring if you win or lose, that helps a lot too. So,
right.
You know.
Right. That's it. And this, I mean, I think this guy is somewhat laughing at the scenario, but I think there's a bit of jealousy in there too. Like he's just, he's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. You know what's really funny is I've had people call me wanting me and my team to help them, and I go, yeah, I am the team, dude. There is no team.
Right. You're it.
I'm sorry, that's so funny to me. Dude, I barely cut out what are you talking to me for? Right. You know?
This other guy, Josh Bourdin, right? He wrote in, he said, you probably thought this car ran on gas. Nope. It's just Chuck's Tesla.
Oh, that's funny.
See, that's a good one.
Good.
That's a good one. It's just Chuck's Tesla.
Yeah.
Right. See, that was pretty funny.
Tesla, because people call me Tesla sometimes because of Tesla, Testa, both Italian, So.
Right.
Anyway.
All right, I'll read one more, and then we'll get on to the rest of the topics here. This Bullsquid52 wrote, is there a live bear in my bed? Oh, thank God. It was just a strange man with a giant dead bear and a camera team.
Yeah. And these are newer comments still?
Yeah.
After all this time?
That was a year ago.
Well, yeah, still. I mean, that's 2016, right?
Yep.
So that's 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So
they're still cranking.
Yeah.
Yep. It's absolutely amazing that this is...
Just funny. Yeah, I had some real bad stuff. I don't want to... I actually had legitimate death threats and stuff.
I'm sure. We get those too, and we just kind of poo-poo them, whatever.
In fact, you know what? I got so fed up with these guys but I actually had someone call. I mean, there was a serious one. So finally what I said on one of my videos is, I said, I'm going to be at the Boy Scouts, whatever event it is, on this Sunday between 8 and 4. Show up and come and kill me there. But I said, but bring your guns.
Exactly. No, we've had similar conversations with some people that don't like us so much. It's like, they're picking on the wrong crowd.
Yeah. And, maybe they did show up, but we were doing a static World War II display. We had 2 1919 Brownings, 1 Ma Deuce, and I was walking around with a Thompson, so maybe they didn't want to play.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Probably chose to go the other way. Now what you do have to do, Chuck, is tell me what this hat is all about that you're wearing in the video. What is that?
Oh, that hat?
Yep.
That's because I couldn't find my regular HBT short bill I usually wear.
Okay.
That hat is I do living history, World War II.
Okay.
And I also collect a lot of memorabilia. And that was just like I don't know if you want to call it a war trophy or something that I had I got a lot of stuff my dad brought back from the war.
Yep.
And my uncles and stuff. And that's what that has, an M43 cap. But I don't really usually wear that one.
Okay.
I usually wear the short bill HBT you see me in all the videos with. I couldn't find it. It was just a random thing that happened,
Gotcha.
Like it wasn't on purpose,
Yep.
I got a lot of crap for that, too, like I'm a Nazi and stuff.
I saw some Nazi comments on there, but clearly you're not a Nazi. You're definitely a full-blown American.
No, I'm in the 35th. Yeah, that and when I reenact, I'm in the 35th Infantry.
Okay.
The one that was in Kelly Tiro's, that unit.
Yep.
And actually, my nickname is Crap Game from the movie because I'm always making deals. So.
Gotcha.
Just like Don Rickles.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So if now you live in the land of California, and you're clearly,
liberal utopia.
Yes, you're clearly on this conservative side of things, but you're living in liberal utopia.
What makes you say that?
Just
not only that,
just a hunch. Just a hunch.
More out there than Ojai.
Right.
I'm surprised I'm not hanging from a tree upside down or something.
How do you
in this town?
How do you deal with that? I mean, especially as popular. I mean, a lot of popular people, I guess, out in California. But how do you deal with that day to day? Do you ever have any run-ins?
Yeah, but I find that I don't want to get like real negative, but there are a lot of people it's all behind your back crap. They don't got the stones to say it to your face.
Right.
Unless there's a group of them, and then you got to deal with it like that. But I just don't engage because arguing with one time I said something bad, like I'll take out my brain and we'll start even, but that probably wasn't good. I always say stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And they have no sense of humor. That's one thing I've noticed. Yeah, no sense of humor.
That's funny.
So
very funny.
They obviously haven't read the rule book of life, and they don't know about Rule 62.
62.
So,
yep.
Just funny to me. I'm sorry. I just don't have any hate.
Right.
It's just weird. I can't. That's not how I want to be. And I don't understand.
Yep. I get
I don't understand. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you do because I don't get them because they're supposed to be the love and tolerance people, and you can't even say who you voted for out here. You're done.
Right.
It's over.
It's over.
If you get where I'm going with that.
They'll get really mad, storm away, and not talk to you.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've lost a lot of friends this year.
Yep.
A lot of friends.
Right.
And I like to say they're really friends because if you're going to do that, if you can't be a grown up and disagree with somebody, then what the hell,
Right.
Because there's common ground in a lot of things. So somewhere, anyhow.
Gotcha. So tell me about this TV show that's happening over there on Carbon TV. What's that project?
Mounted.
About? Yes,
Mounted. Yeah, Mounted. And what an appropriate title, huh?
It's fantastic and so appropriate at the same time. It's so inappropriate and appropriate at the same time.
God, it's so funny. Yeah, so the Carbon TV approached me, and I had a lot of fun making Mounted, and we're hoping to have season 2. I don't know. That's why we went to the SHOT Show and met some more people, for some sponsors and all that. And it's just a show about my friends and my, what I do. And what they said was really funny is that a lot of times when you go see these shows, they have writers and everything, right?
Right.
And they write scenarios. But actually, around here, you really don't need to do anything. You just need to wait, and something ridiculous will happen. It's just it's just my life, Like, it's just funny. It's really funny. It just, even when they were making the show, and we were making the World of Tanks commercial, like, this is a random example. Scavenger hunters come, and they needed to borrow an animal the scavenger hunt, and they had to take the animal out to dinner.
Right.
And I don't know if that would made it in the show or not, but that actually really happened. It just random. You can't even imagine.
Right.
It's just crazy.
It sounds like your life is like poised to be a reality television show. Really.
I guess that actually a lot of people say that, and I'm sure I can't be the only one, but it actually is.
Right.
And my friends are actually all different. Yeah, it's just maybe I attract strange people. I don't know, but it just is what it is. So you can embrace it, right? Or you can just, I don't know. So I just choose to just go with it, and because 90% of life is showing up. If you don't show up, you might miss something. So,
do you enjoy it?
My life?
Your life, or the television show?
Yeah, I love my life.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of fun doing a TV show, and again, it would be nice to have a second season. But if I don't, hey, I'm still, you know what I mean? I'm still okay, and I got to do one.
Right.
See, that's how I kind of look at it. Look at all the great crap I get to do that I would have never ever had a chance to do.
Right.
So it's like, how can you lose when you've already won?
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yep, I'm with you.
Oh,
who is the guy?
It's all a bonus.
Who's the guy in the beard that appears in some of the
Jeff?
episodes? Jeff. Yeah, tell me about Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, God. How do you describe Jeff? And he's really like that. He's just so funny because he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what he's going to say himself,
Right.
And he's just hilarious. So he's got several nicknames. We call him Goldfish because he's got like a 1 second attention span.
Okay.
And then my buddy from Australia thought his name was Dave, so he calls him Dingo Dave because he's dingy.
All right.
And and he's got just all kinds of different nicknames. And but he's a pretty good musician, and he's a good taxidermist if he can focus long enough to put something together. And he's just a character, dude. What else can you say about him?
How'd you meet him?
We met. He called me up, and he was looking to get a bass mounted, and he wanted a skin mount. And we launched into this conversation about mounting fish and why don't people do real skin mounts. And then he said, then he told me he was a tattoo guy, right? Because he is a tattoo artist.
Yep.
So we started talking about that, and then how he could do this and that. And then I said, well, I tell you what, you clean up my tattoos and stuff, and I'll teach you how to mount a fish. And that's how it started. Gotcha. So
that's really funny.
Yeah. His passion is fish and birds. He doesn't do, hair, which actually works out good for me because I get too busy with birds, you know what I mean? So he can do birds and fish, and I'm fine. And so we complement each other.
Gotcha.
If we don't kill each other when we're working together.
Right.
So.
That's pretty funny. So let me let's get into a deer hunt. I had asked you before we got on to the show to think of a memorable deer hunt. One popped into your head really fast.
Where were we headed on this hunt?
We were in Iowa, in Boone, Iowa.
What year? You got a recall in the year?
God, why do you have to ask that? Sometime in mid-2000 and 2009. I can't remember exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Somewhere around there. And awesome. My mentor is a really 4-time world champion taxidermist and all that. His brother has a ranch, or had a ranch. He passed away since, in Boone, Iowa. So in December we went, and a lot of like 6 taxidermists, friends of mine, and a bunch of guys from Texas, and it's like a 4-day season, shotgun season there.
Mm-hmm.
And so me, dumbass me, Ojai, right, 80 degrees all the time. I never wear shoes. I'm flying into Nebraska. I'm looking out the airplane, and I'm like, what's with all the white, right? And I mean, I knew it was going to be snowy and stuff, but I mean, like, oh my God, I get there and it's like 10 below zero. All right. I'm in flip flops and shorts at the airport. That didn't last long. But anyway, the funny part is, if you know me at all, I'm kind of like my best friend Mike. He says this. I got this 10-foot rule. I'm not allowed to stand. I have to be 10 feet away from them all at all times, especially if we're working or doing anything, so nothing bad happens to them. So it's like the last day of our hunt, and we're going along the edge of this cornfield, and there's a little drainage draw, and he goes, hey, man, there's a buck over there. So he stops and he goes, get out, go around the front of the truck, and lean on the bumper. You can nail it, right? So they're looking at the deer, him and his wife, Cindy. They get out the truck, and apparently there was a fence line down under, barbed wire that had been covered with snow that I didn't see. Right. And I tripped over it and went into a bank of snow, right, like 4 feet, buried up to my knees, upside down, and my legs are flailing, right? And they're looking at the deer, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing happens. And Mike's going, where the hell did he go? And then they look over, they don't see me, and they can't find me. And all of a sudden he sees my legs flailing, and I'm suffocating. And then he was laughing so damn hard he couldn't. And to this day they laugh. They just think about it and laugh because they go, what the hell? Where'd he go? He was here a minute ago. And oh my God, it's like my biggest embarrassing moment ever. But needless to say, I missed the buck.
Right.
Almost suffocated because my friends couldn't grab my legs and drag me out from upside down. God, it was funny. They said they just crying, laughing. They laughed all the way to the airport in Nebraska. And all these years later, every time they just look at me and they just start laughing,
So the end of the story is that you didn't get a shot off at the buck.
No, and then the other famous thing from that hunt was, like, I was pretty flat, you would think, right? And then my buddy Staffy, he shoots this buck, and it runs up and falls down like the only cave hole in all of Iowa, right? And we trying to get this buck out, and nobody has a rope, and it's me and him, and Jesus, it was just hilarious. And trying to get this buck up out of this hole, taking off our belts and trying to, and then he kept bending the buck head where the antlers would like come up against the side of the hole and dig it in, and I'm yelling and screaming at him and trying to pull this deer up, and I'm not the giantest guy in the world, as you can tell. So now I'm starting to fall in the hole. It just turned into a big old cluster. And then again, people finally come, but they're laughing too hard to help us. So, I don't get asked to go hunting too much no more.
That sounds like you make for some interesting hunts, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was fun.
Definitely want to keep you around.
Man, it was cold.
For deer camp laughs, that's for sure.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, it's always. Well, that is a guarantee. It's always an adventure if you go. Something like when me and Jeff went fishing on that lake. I don't know that episode. His motor really did blow out, and I had touched it first for real with the 10-foot rule, and then the trolling motor burnt out. He had to be towed all the way back. But we had to leave, so we left him at the dock. He didn't get back till like 5 hours later.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So keep you out of my hunting woods and off my boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. Anyhow.
Oh, Chuck, that's funny
pretty
stuff.
Funny.
Funny stuff.
Yeah,
man.
That's pretty funny. I don't know if it sounded as funny, but it really was funny. Especially that with my leg kicking up in the air.
The snow.
Where'd he go?
But I could see why that's your most memorable hunt. I mean, of all the things that could have gone wrong, and you end up in a snowbank that you can't get out of. That's
right.
You can't make that stuff
right.
up. It's not something that you.
No, it just got funny. I mean, I've had a lot of other hunting, like good adventures and this and that. But the older I got, and the more stuff happened, and the more funny things are more memorable to me than just your, you go out, have a good time, and nail a deer and stuff. It's,
Right.
So.
Gotcha. Well, I've got 10 rapid fire questions for you, Chuck, and I didn't prep you for these, but these are just to get to know you a little bit better. So,
okay,
I'd like to hit those.
I am radioactive.
You're radioactive.
So
all right.
That one out of the way. All right.
Very good. What's your number one hunting tip of all time?
Number one hunting tip: be prepared for success.
All right, I like it. All right, we all have these things that we bring into the woods. Sometimes they're good luck charms. Sometimes they're just a utility. But whatever they are, it drives us crazy if we leave it at home or in the truck when we're in our stand or in the field. What's that one thing for you?
One thing for me? Oh, my God. My hat.
Your hat. Gotcha.
My lucky hat. Yeah, my HBT short-billed hat.
Gotcha. That's
useless
a good one.
Without it.
I can see that. I see you have an affinity for that hat for sure.
Yeah, I do. It's 72 years old, so...
Gotcha. What's your biggest pet peeve in life?
My biggest pet peeve?
Yeah.
Just one?
Just one. Your biggest one.
I only get to pick one? Oh, man. My biggest pet peeve. I would say people that take themselves too seriously.
There you go. I knew you were going to say that.
Honestly.
I love it.
You did. It's really kind of true, I think. Because it would be way easier, a lot of things, Yep. So.
Gotcha. How old are you today, Chuck?
60.
60. All right. What would you tell the 30-year-old Chuck Testa, knowing what you know today?
Just jump off the hill right now. Get it over with.
Gotcha.
Run.
All right.
You know what I would really tell my 30-year-old self?
Yeah, what would you say?
I would really say, keep an open mind and don't sell yourself short, because you never know what God has in store for you. You'd be cheating yourself if you didn't dream big.
Right.
So that's what I would really say.
That makes sense. All right, you're at a hunting convention somewhere in the world, maybe it's Las Vegas, and you meet a stranger in the hotel lobby, and they ask you what you do for a living. What do you tell them?
I tell them the truth. I'm a taxidermist.
Gotcha. Very cool. What did you have for?
And they what?
Go
ahead.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, I'd tell you a banana, but that's a lie because that was yesterday. So I probably didn't eat breakfast today.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. You get your own billboard on the side of a highway. It's a blank canvas. You can put anything you want on it. What would it say?
What do I really want it to say?
Sure.
If I have to explain nope to you, you wouldn't understand.
Got it. I got it. I definitely understand that one.
You got it. No, you get it, right?
Yep, I get it.
People say, what does nope mean? And I say, nope is a state of mind, man. It's a level of consciousness that you achieve, like Zen, So.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, if I say the word successful to you, who's the first person that pops into your head and why?
My teacher, because he's made Mike Frazier, if I could say his name, because he's accomplished as a taxidermist amazing self-taught life, sculpted 8,000 mannequins. I just can't even describe. He's a success, 100%. I kind of try to. You know what? Can I say something?
Sure.
Like a guy told me a long time ago. Whatever it is that you want to be, find the guy that's the best at that and do what he does. And somehow I lucked into meeting that guy, and we talk every day ever since. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Gotcha. No, that's those are great words to live by.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in my business, in my what I've done, he has achieved like the pinnacle. If you were going to ask me, you know what I mean? How high can you go? Right.
Right.
So and then there's a lot of other people I admire too, but none that have affected me like that guy has.
Right.
So
that's the first one that popped into your head.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. What's a typical day in your life look like?
Absolute chaos.
Okay.
I start in the morning with my coffee, and we go out to the shop. We press the machine and see what adventures await. Or we start a project, and we see, I call it commercials, how many commercials can get in the way of mounting a deer head,
Yeah.
And then I try to have a little quiet time with my wife and my dogs in the evening and walk. And this weekend, I'm going to do a World War II reenactment that I'm really excited about. So I love to do that living history.
That's cool.
On my spare time.
All right. Now, I know you haven't deer hunted in a little while, and the last time you ended up in a snowbank in Iowa. But what's when you do go hunting, what's a typical deer hunting day in your life look like?
Okay, when I go up at however early, 3:34, we organize the hunt. We get out depending where it is, and then usually with Mike and I, we're always looking for capes. So we'll end up spending the nighttime skinning deer. Like our record was like 20-something deer in one night we skinned for people, because we'll skin your deer if you give us the cape, if it's,
Yep.
So it turns into a little bit of pleasure and work. And actually my favorite is upland game hunting.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you, I used to have I just lost my Springer last year, but I love pheasant quail hunting is actually more of my favorite than big game for some reason. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
I just like it.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you're getting outside, that's what really counts.
Well, that and, working with a good dog, in November and pheasants and all that, it's just, I don't know, it just, to me, screams hunting,
Right.
Busting a big old rooster jumps up behind you and scares the crap out of you, so it's awesome.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool,
I
man.
love it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, this has been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed listening to You get serious about taxidermy and not taking yourself too seriously. And I like your sense of humor, and I'm glad that you can, just.
I appreciate that. I hope I did a good job.
You did a great job.
I never study for a test, so.
Yeah, this is not something I want anybody to study for, really. I don't think it comes off as genuine. So, but you're a genuine guy, and you're on the,
Well, that's just really, I always say to people, young people, just be who you are. Just be who you are,
right?
And you'll be okay.
Yep, that's what I appreciate about you, Chuck. It's I picked up on that right away. So it's very, very cool.
I appreciate you actually asking me on this because I love to do podcasts. I love to do radio. It's a lot of fun. See, another thing I got to do because of the video, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah.
Jay, what a great guy. Old Chuck, he's something, ain't he?
He's a great guy. I love the sense of humor. I love how he was able to make fun of himself and reminds us to make fun of ourselves, and that he was actually able to make fun of us too. So all around great guy.
Yeah, check him out and enjoy. That's all I can say is enjoy what he does.
Right, I agree. Do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week this week?
Yeah, Jay, with the snow hitting here in the Midwest and all across the East Coast.
The Chubby Tines tip of the week is sponsored by Morse's Sporting Goods. Firearms, used firearms, bows, used bows, located at 85 Kentucky Falls Road in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Give Jim a call at 603-464-3444, morsessportinggoods.com. Your dollars go further in New Hampshire. There's no sales tax. Morse's Sporting Goods.
Right now is a great opportunity to get out there and find the major corridors, trails, and bedding areas. And season's over, you're not going to hurt a thing. Go in there and start investigating your whitetail woods right now. It's time.
Gotcha. I've been out in the woods a lot in this deep snow that we've been getting over the last couple of weeks, and I am thoroughly enjoying myself. Of course, I'm doing a lot of coyote hunting, but man, am I learning a lot about areas of the woods of New Hampshire, what's living where with all these winter tracks, and finding a lot of deer wintering areas that, and it's not quite deep enough, although we got another 10 inches coming in, so by the time that hits, it's going to be a full-on winter here for the deer herds of New Hampshire. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It's fantastic. So, Dusty, let's just cover once again where we can find you when you're not here on the mic with me in Big Buck Podcast Studios.
Shoot me an email somewhere you can get in touch with me, and I'll respond to you. And if you got questions or you need an answer or something, or just looking to talk about deer hunting, shoot me an email, dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. You can look me up on Facebook, Chubby Tines Outdoors, @ChasingAntler on Instagram and Twitter, and give me a follow there, and we'll chat. Jay, where can the people reach out to you when you're not on the mic?
Once again, the best place is to email me. Find us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all right there. You can listen to the show on YouTube simply by going and finding the video that's associated with the audio. So you can actually listen to all of our shows on YouTube now, which is pretty cool. And if you wanted to give us a call, 724-613-2825. That's our hotline, and you just give us a call and tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like, what you want to see, who you want to see as a future guest, all those types of things. And speaking of future guests, you want to tune in next week as we interview Laura Zira from Naked and Afraid. Dusty's been another fantastic show, and looking forward to coming back next week, but it's time to go. I'm Jay Scott.
I'm Dusty Phillips, and you're listening to the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.